Okay, good evening, students. Am I audible? Kindly, if any one of you can confirm. Okay, just a second. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So, in the previous day, we can you tell me till what did we do? Till which slide did we complete? Can you tell me? Just let me check.
So slicing was also done on the last.
Yes, let me let me check just a bit. Just a second. Okay, so did we did till the slide number 19, string modification, right? Okay. So we did till string modification. So just a second. I will again share my screen. Okay. So we did till this slide, I guess. Okay. So we will continue from this slide, and after completing this slide, then we will move to the next slide. Okay. So we studied the basics of Python. How do we install the Python? What are the basic syntaxes of Python? And we were studying strings, and we studied what are strings. We studied how can we loop through a string. We studied string slicing, as well as we studied what string modification. Okay, so we will continue from this today. So again, in the previous day, we ended at how do we replace uh, certain characters in a string. Okay. So again, today we will see a new thing that is known as split. Now, if you can see in the definition that the split method splits the string into substrings. Okay. Now, if I go to a demo here, so you can see that I'm using Windows here. Okay. And for example, if you followed the previous class, we said that whenever we are using Python in Windows, or whenever we install Python in Windows, this app comes pre-installed with the Python. So this is ideally that I was talking about. Okay. Also in Windows, there is an option for you to install Linux as well using WSL. So as previously in the previous class, we were doing all the codes in Python in Linux, Ubuntu. So the same thing that we will follow here as well. So again, you can see that I'm using Ubuntu in my laptop. Okay. So let me make this a bit bigger if it's possible. Just a second. Or let us do one thing. The previous day we started using Ubuntu. Today we will use something called as command prompt. The command prompt that we have in Windows. So if I just and if I write just for example, if I write Python. So since we are using only Python 3 in Windows, so we can only write Python and not Python 3 and Python 2 as we did in Ubuntu. So if we write Python again, if I type in version, so you can see that in my laptop I have Python 3.8.5 installed. Okay. So if I just want to call Python, so what I will do, I will just write Python, and I will be greeted by the interactive Python shell that we have. Okay. Is the command prompt visible to you? Just tell me, anyone? Is the command prompt visible? Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. 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 So suppose we have this example that if I write a is equal to, for example, hello and world, right? And if I press enter, so obviously hello world string will be assigned to the variable a, right? Now what I can do is I have a, you can see that I have a comma in between hello and world. Okay. So what I can do is I can use this comma to split this string into two strings. Okay. Now how can we do this? Let us understand. So I will write print, and since but the name of the string is a, so I will write a dot split. So split is a method in the case of, is an inbuilt method in the case of a string. Okay. So I will write a dot split, and I will just pass as argument the character on which I would like to split my string into two or three parts. Okay. So suppose in this case I will give the character as a comma. Okay. So which means it will return, now it will return me a list where there will be two words, one is hello and one is world. How did we get these two words? Because we had, so this was a single string and we splitted this single string into two parts using what, a comma. Okay. So if I just press enter on this, so again you can see that we are having uh, a, uh, a list where we are having two words, one is hello and one is world, and we have splitted this using what, a comma. Okay. Okay, just I will see the chat once. Just a second. So what is the chat all about? Just let me check. Okay, no need to give the attendance here. No need to give the attendance here because I will share a link, Google Form link at the end of the class, and then you can give the attendance. Okay, no need to give the attendance here. Not an issue. Okay. So let us continue. Again, we can concatenate two strings by using the plus operator. So again, it's a very simple example. If you can see, so if I have a string as hello, and if I store it in the variable a, and again I have a string b, and if I store it in a variable world like this, and if I write c is equal to a plus b, and if I print c, you can see that we are having both the strings concatenated. So again, we can concatenate two strings using what, a plus operator. Okay. Okay. So now we will have some operators in the case of Python. What are the operators that we generally use in Python? There are arithmetic operators, there are assignment operators, then there can be comparison operators, and then there can be logical operators. Okay. Now, if you can see that whenever we have the arithmetic operators, we have various operators. So we can see plus is for the addition, minus is for the subtraction, asterisk is for the multiplication, division is for the slash sign is for division. Okay, the percentage sign is for modulus, the double asterisk sign is for exponents, which means power. Okay, so if I want 4 to the power 2, I will write 4 double asterisk 2. Okay, and some we have something called as a float division. Now let us understand what's the float division. So if I have a equals to 3, or let us say a equals to 10, and b equals to, for example, 3, and if I write c is equal to a by b, right, and if I print the value of c, you can see that the answer is what, 3.33, right? But if I write the same thing like this, that c is equal to a double slash b, sorry, if I write c is equal to a double slash b, and then if I print the value of c, you see that it is just printing the actual, it is just printing the value but not the remainder. Okay. So if I just want the value but not the remainder, we can always use the floor operator. Okay. I hope it is clear to everyone. Okay. Next, what we have something as the assignment operators. Now, what are these operators? You can understand that we use equal to for the assignment, like whenever we are assigning some values to any variables, we are using the equal to operator. Then we have the plus equal to. Now, what is plus equal to? It means if I just write it like this, that suppose the value of a here is 10. If I write the value of a, it is 10. So if I write a plus equal to 1, suppose if I write, so if I print the value of a here, it will be what? 11. So a plus equal is nothing but a is equal to a plus. Okay, so that is the thing. If I write minus equal to, again it will become a equal to a minus, right? Okay. Then again we have the asterisk equal to, which means multiply. We have the division equal to. We have the percentage equal to. So everything that is in the case of the arithmetic operators, we can perform in the case of assignment operators as well. Okay, using the same logic that we saw in a plus equal to 1. Okay. Okay. Next, we have the comparison operator. So again, if I want to check whether two variables are equal or not, we can use the double equal to sign. Again, if I want to check if it is not equal to, we can use the not equal to, that is an exclamation mark equal to sign. Greater is actually the greater than sign, less than sign. Then we have the greater than equal to sign, and else we have the less than equal to sign. Okay, so these are the comparison operators that we can use in the case of Python. Similarly, we have the logical operators, and, or, and not, right? So if I want to if I want to write a if statement like this, that if for example a in this case is 11, so let us check the values of a. The value of a in this case is 11, and the value of b in this case is what? 3. So if I write a if statement like this, that if a is greater than 5, right, I can print what? True, for example. So again it will print true. But if I want to check both of them, so if I write a statement like this, if suppose a is greater than 5, and if I say b is less than 5, I can write what? Print true. So it will, okay, sorry, just a second, like this. And if I write print true, it will print true. So again, it is a logical operator that we can use in the case of Python. So and is there, or is there, and not is there. Okay. So again, in the case of or, we can write if a is greater than 11 or b is less than 5, for example. Not is if a is not greater than something, or if a is not equal to something. So again, we can use not as well. So these are the logical operators that we have in the case of Python. Okay. Next, we come to a very important topic that is known as what? Lists. Now, as far as I understand, the topic of lists, as well as when we will move towards the object-oriented programming part, this will be the most elaborate topics that we will study in the case of Python. So, if you can see in lists, here we have 3 slides. In the next slide, we will have another 12 to 13 slides. So, there are various things that we need to learn in lists, as well as there are various things that we can do using lists in the case of Python. Okay. Now lists are nothing but they are used to store multiple items in a single variable. Now, if you remember, I was saying the previous day that we can say that lists are very much synonymous to arrays. The arrays we have studied in C, C++, Java. So lists can be said as they are very much synonymous to the concept of arrays, where the values in the case of lists are contiguous in nature, right? So the values that are stored in a list, they will be in continuous memory locations. Okay, but what's the main difference between a list and an array? The main difference is, in the case of arrays, what did we say was that an array is a homogeneous array is actually a homogeneous in nature, which means it can store, if an array is storing actually integer variables, it can store only integer variables. If an array is storing, for example, float numbers, it can store only float numbers, right? So we cannot mix and match various data types into a single array. But in the case of list, what we can do is we can mix and match data types in a single list. Okay. So we can see here that lists are used to store multiple items in a single variable. Also, lists are one of the four inbuilt data types in Python. So the other ones are a tuple, set, as well as dictionary, and we will study these later in the session. And all of them have different qualities and usages. Okay. Also, a list is created using square brackets. So this is so this is the basic syntax of how do we use a list. So whenever we are using a list, whenever we are defining a list, or whenever we are initializing a list, obviously we will always use a square bracket in the case of a list. Okay. As we discussed earlier as well, so a list can be heterogeneous in nature as well. Okay. As we discussed earlier, whenever we create a list, so what we do is we always use a square bracket. Okay. So if I say that we have a list as the name of the list is this list, and we want to initialize a list having three strings. The first one is apple, the second one is banana, and third one is cherry. So again, you can see that we are using what, a square bracket in the case of whenever we want to initialize a list using some values. Okay. So we have a list called as this list, and there are three elements in that list. The first one is apple, second one is banana, and third one is cherry. And if I again print this list, it will print the list. So again, let us see a demo here. Just a second. Okay. So if I write this list, for example, and suppose if I just give an empty square bracket, and if I press enter, so again, if I print this list, it will print a empty list. Okay. But if I want to initialize, what I will do, I will do the same thing. If I will write this list equal to what we have here, apple, we have a comma, then we have banana, we have comma, and lastly we have what, cherry, like this. And now if I print this list, so see, in the case of interactive shell, I can use either, I can obviously use the print statement as well, like this, and it will print the same thing. And since it's an interactive shell, what I can do, I can also omit the print function, and I can just use the name of the variable. So if I write this list as well, so again you can see that it is printing the same thing, right? But if you are doing the same thing in the case of a program, then obviously print statement is required. But since this is an interactive shell, I can totally omit the print statement or print function. Okay. 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 So as we have discussed in the slide, so we can create a list like this. Again, we can initialize a list like this. So I've also shown the initialization part. Also, lists item are ordered, changeable, and allow duplicate values. Now, what are these three meaning of these three words? The first one is ordered. Ordered means what? That whenever we are inserting elements to our list, so obviously it will follow a order, right? So suppose first I have inserted one, and then I've inserted five, and then again if I have inserted two, so the order will be maintained. So which means whenever I print the list, the values will be one, five, and two. It will not happen that five will go somewhere else, two will come somewhere else, one will go somewhere else, right? So list will be ordered, which means which means the concept of indexing is there. Okay. So whenever I enter a value into a list, so in whatever order I enter the value, the order will be maintained, and that is why we can use the concept of indexing in the case of a list. Okay. Next is what, changeable. Now what is changeable? If you remember the case of string, if I just, let me take an example. So if I say that I have a string called as s, and the value of the string is what, banana. Okay. Now what I can do is I can write s dot replace, suppose I can replace b with suppose c, right? So you can see the value becomes, so b has always obviously been replaced by the c, but this is not true actually. This looks like that it has been replaced, but this is not true. Which means if again after replacing, if I print s again, you can see that it is still banana, right? So whenever I'm replacing it, what happens is that we are actually changing the whatever we need to change, and we are creating a separate instance of that string. Okay. So which means in the case of string, strings are strings cannot be changed, or in other words, we can say that strings are immutable in nature, right? But in the case of lists can be changed, which means lists are actually what, mutable in nature. Okay, so this keyword is very important. Strings are immutable, and in the case of a list, it is mutable. Okay, okay. What's the third thing? That it allows duplicate values, which means if I have a list like this, so I have a list called as this list, and they have three values: apple, banana, and cherry. So again, if I write it like this, that okay, so I have an apple initially, but again if I write apple, and again if I print this list, so you can see that they are having both the instances of the string apple. So which means a list can obviously have what, duplicate values as well. Okay, now again, if you remember in the case of string, how did we print the length of a string? So obviously we had a function called as len. So again, the same function len can be used in the case of list as well to find out the length of a list. Okay, so if I write len of this list, so again you can see that the length of this list is actually what, 4. Okay, so the function len can be used in the case of string, can be used in the case of lists, can be used in the case of dictionary, can be used in the case of tuples, can be used in the case of sets as well. Okay, so this len is a very universal function that we have in the case of Python. Okay, okay. So again, as we discussed earlier, that list item can be of any data type. Okay, so we can see here that so in one list we are having only strings. In another list we are having only integers, and in one list we are having only boolean values. Okay. Also, a single list can contain what, different data types as well. So in this list one, we can see that we are having strings as strings, we are having integers, we are having boolean values, we are again having integers, and we are again having what, string. So it is a heterogeneous in nature, unlike arrays in the case of programming languages such as C, Java, and C++. Okay, again using the list constructor to make a list. Okay, so again we can do it like this. Okay, so suppose we say that we have a variable called as this list, and again we can create a list by this as well as there is another constructor known as what, a list. This is a inbuilt function for lists. So what does this constructor say? It says that we can use the keyword list like this, and we can give a double bracket like this, and again we can write the same thing. So in this case, suppose I write Kolkata, I write Ranchi, and suppose I write Durgapur. Okay, so again if I print this list, so this is another way by which we can create lists. Okay, again since we said that a list is a ordered data type, so again we said that since it's a ordered data type, we can always use the concept of indexing in the case of lists. Okay, so again if I want to, suppose I want to just find out or just print the element in the list at the first index. So if I write like this list, and we give the index as 1, we can always find out the element at a certain index in a list using this way or this method. Okay. Okay. Next, again, as in the case of strings, we have indexing as well in the case of lists. So again, we can have negative indexing. So again, if I want to find out the last index, or the value of the last index in the list, so what I can do, I can write this list, and we can write -1. So -1 will obviously give us the last index, value of the last index. Okay. So again, we can see that the value of the last index in our case is actually Durgapur. So it is giving Durgapur. Okay. Again we can have something called as the slicing. So again if I want to find out, if I suppose, just let me copy this. It's very difficult to write everything, and how do we copy this, I do not know. Okay, just let me write then. Okay, So again, if I have this list, and what do we have? We have apple. Okay, very quickly I will write. I will have banana, right? I will have banana. I will have cherry. What else do we have? We have orange, kiwi. Oh my god, so many fruits. Okay, so I will have orange. I will have, suppose I will have kiwi, and that is the last thing that we will have. Okay, and again, if I want to print from the second index till the fifth index, so I will write, so from the second index to the fourth index, for example. So again, we can have the slicing as well in the case of uh, lists. Okay. Again, we can have a negative slicing as well. So if I write, suppose if I want to print out the list, a slice of a list in reverse order. So what we will do? So we can have something like this. So we can have -4. So -4, -2, and then we can have -1. So what are these kind of things? So this is the starting index, that is -4. So the fourth element from the fourth last element, from the fourth last element we will be printing. We will have the second last element. Oh, it will be -2, right? It will be -2 and then -4, I guess. Okay, and then we will have -1. Now, what is -1? -1 is nothing but, or let me show you like this. Suppose we have from 4 till 2, and then I will be printing in the reverse order. So, what is this? 4 is the starting index, 2 is the ending index, and what is this -1? -1 is actually the step. Okay, so either I can write 1, which means it will print everything between 2 and 4. If I write 2, so it means I will skip one element and then I will print the next. But if I write -1, it means what? I will print the same thing in reverse order. So we can see that the first one was orange and then it was kiwi. But in this case, if I give -1, it becomes what? First it will become kiwi and then it will become orange. Okay. So these are the tricks and tips and tricks of using slicing. We can use negative slicing, as well as we can use the starting index, ending index, uh, as well as we can use the step count to print lists or print elements of a list. Okay. Okay. Again, there is one very important thing that we use in our whenever you write Python codes. It is very important. So there is a keyword called as in. Okay. Now, what is this in keyword? Let us understand. So suppose we have a list like this. So again, we have a list. So if I print the list, we have a list like this. And suppose if I want to find out if Apple is present in the list or not. Okay. So what we can do, we can do two things. The first one is we can loop through all the variables or loop through all the elements in the list, and we can find whether each element it is matching to our keyword or not, right? So we can do that. So that is a lengthy process. So again, to shorten this process, we can use a keyword called as in. Okay. See, I will just write if Apple is in, which means in this list. If it is there, I will print what? I will print true, for example. So again, it is true. If I do the same thing, that okay, what is not here? Suppose, okay, mango is not here. Okay, just a second. Okay, so mango is not here. So if I write mango like this, so if mango is in the list, I will print what? It is true. So I will print true. So obviously it is not there. So I will not print true. So what I can do, I can write else print false, like this. Okay, so obviously it will print false. So int is a very important keyword if I do not want to loop through all the elements inside a list. Okay, so this is very important keyword. Okay, similarly we will see the same keyword in the case of tuple. We will see the same keyword in the case of dictionary, as well as we will see the same keyword in the case of set as well. So in is a very important keyword. Okay, so with this we come to the end of this slide. So what I will do is I will quickly close this slide and I will go to the next slide that we have. Okay, so okay, so again, to continue with lists, what we have is, so to change the value of a specific item, refer to the index number. Okay, so what we can see here is, if I want to show if I have this list, and these are the elements of a list, okay, and if I want to change a certain element, what I can do is I can just write the index of that element. So suppose I want to change the value of apple, so I will write this list. I will give the index as 0. So since apple is the zeroth index, and if I write, for example, what's the example? Black currant. Okay, just let me see the example. It's black currant. Okay, like this. Okay, and now if I print this list, we can see that the apple has been replaced with the element that is known as black currant. Okay, so which means that lists are changeable. So as we saw in the first slide, okay, that lists can be changed like this. Okay, again, to change a range of items, okay, so which means if I want to change items from the index 1 to the index 3 with certain things, so let us see the example. So suppose I want to change this list, and I want to change from 2 to 4 with black currant and watermelon. Okay. So with black currant and watermelon, like this. Okay, and obviously since we are changing more than one value, it will be a list, obviously. And if I press enter like this, and if now I print this list, you can see that the values from 2 to 4, which means the values at the second index and at the third index, has been changed with black currant as well as watermelon. So again, we can change not only a single item, but we can change a range of items as well in the case of a list. Okay. Okay. Again, so in the third example, you can see that in this case we again want to change what a range of indexes. So we are changing from index 1 to 2, right? Which means if I just see this range 1 is to 2, which means I will be changing the first thing, the value at the first index. Again, in the previous example, what did we do? We changed two values with two values, right? But again, what in this case what we can see is we can also change one value with two values. So we can do that. So if you want to insert more items than you replace, the new items will be inserted where you have specified. So again, in lists, if you want to replace one element with two elements, again you can do that in the case of a list. Okay. Okay. Next is if you insert less items than you replace. So again, you can do that. So which means in the previous example, we saw that we were inserting more items than we are replacing. But in this example, we can see that we are inserting less items than we are replacing. So if I want to replace two items with one items, so again, we can do that in the case of a list. Okay. Again, to insert a new list item, without replacing any of the existing values, we can use the insert method. Okay, so in the previous examples, what we were seeing was whenever we are specifying the index, we are just replacing the elements in the case of a list. But again, if I do not want to replace elements and I just want to insert elements, so what we can do, we can use the insert method, right? So suppose if I have this list, and again suppose for example at the first suppose index I want to insert mango. Okay, so what I can do is I can write this list dot insert. So first I will give the index number, and then I will give the value of the element, that is mango, like this. Okay, and now if I print this list, so you can see that mango has been inserted at the first index, like whatever we have set to the program. So we want the mango to be inserted into the first element in the first index. So similarly, the mango has been inserted into the first index only. Okay. So again, we can use something called as the insert method to insert elements into a specific index. Okay. Again, to add element at the end of the list, we can use something called as the append method. So now this again is a very important method, because this method we generally tend to use in the case of programming. So again, if I want to insert some other fruit name, so again if I want to insert this list dot append, and suppose I want to insert, suppose grapes like this. And now if I print this list, you can see that grapes has been inserted at the end. Okay. So this is so insert at the end, we can use what? We can use the append method, and to insert at a specific index, we can use the insert method. Okay. Okay. Now again, to append elements from another list to a current list, we can use the extend method. Okay. Now what's the extend method? Let us see an example. So we have this list, and suppose we define another list as this list one, and we say that this list contains elements as 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So what I can do is, if I want to add these elements, the elements of this list 1 to this list, what I can do is I can write this list dot extend. So what will I extend? So here you can see in the example, what I will extend, I will just write the name of the second list that I want to insert. Okay. So I will write extend of what? This list 1. So which means the elements of this list 1 will be inserted into the along with the elements of the this list. Okay. So if I press enter on this, and now if I print this list, so you can see that apart from its own variables, the variables of this list 1 has also been inserted into the first list. Okay. Okay. So the extend method does not have to append lists. You can add many iterable objects. Okay. So not only lists, but using the extend method to a list, we can add dictionaries, we can add sets, as well as we can add tuples as well. Okay. So it is not only used in the case of adding two lists, but we can also use it for different data types as well. Okay. Okay. Now we have a remove method. Now what does this method do? So if I give the name of the element, so if I have this list, if I have the method as remove like this, and if I give the name of a variable, so suppose I want to remove the black currant one. Okay. So what I will give, I will just write the name of the element. So it is black currant like this. Okay. And now if I print this list, you can see that the first blackcurrant is gone. Why did the second blackcurrant? Why didn't the second blackcurrant go? Because, can any one of you tell me why didn't the second blackcurrant disappear?
Sir, I think because removes only the first occurrence of the element
No,
in the list.
because in this case the spelling of blackcurrant is wrong. I did a typo. That is the problem. Okay. If I suppose if I let us check whether it can remove two elements or not. Okay. So suppose to this list I append the value mango. So I have a value mango in the zeroth index. So again, suppose I append the value mango, and if I print this list, so we can see that there is mango at the start and there is mango at the end. Okay. Now if I print, if I write this list dot remove mango, let us see what happened. So whatever you were saying was correct, which means whenever we are using the remove keyword, a remove method, it only removes the first occurrence of whatever we are giving in the argument. Okay. So it will not remove everything, but it will remove only the first occurrence of whatever we have used in the argument. Okay. Okay. There is another method called as a pop method. Now, what is this pop method? So using this pop method, I can give the index. Okay. So suppose if I want to remove the last mango, so what I will do is I will write this list and I will write pop. And how do we specify the last element of a list? Anyone? What is the
Minus
index?
one.
-1. Okay. If I write -1 like this, okay. So we can see that it removes the specific index. So let us check whether it is removed or not. Yes, we can see that it has removed the last index of the list, that is mango. Okay. Okay. There is another thing, that if you do not specify the index, the pop method removes the last item. Okay. So again, if you do not specify the So suppose if I do not specify the index, so if I print it like, if I just run it like this, it means it will remove the last element, that is 4 in this case. Okay. So if I press enter like this, and again if I print this list, so we can see that the last element, that is 4, was removed. Why? Because in the case of pop we did not use any index. Okay. Okay. Now we have two keywords. One is del and one is clear. We will show you the clear one first, and then lastly we will show you the del part. So whenever we are using the clear keyword, what does this mean? It means that whenever we are using the clear keyword, the clear method empties the list. The list still remains, but it has no content. Okay. So if I print this list like this, so you can see that we have various elements in this list. And if I write this list dot remove, or dot clear, sorry, dot clear, and if I press enter, so now if I print this list, you can see that the list is empty because all the elements that were inside this list has been cleared. So again, we can use the clear method to clear all the elements that are inside the list. Okay. And lastly, we have a keyword called as del. Okay. So using this del keyword, what we can do is we can specify index as well. So if I specify a given index, it will print the element, it will remove the element that is inside that specific index. But again, if I just write del and we do not specify index, so if I write del only, and if I write it like this, and now if I want to print again this list, so you can see that it has removed, or it has deleted everything, every remaining part of whatever there was of this list. Okay. So which means if I use del with a specific index, it will only remove the element, or it will only delete the element at that specific index. But if I do not give a specific index, what it will do, it will just delete everything remaining of that list. Okay. So since we have used del keyword without an index in this case, so if I now want to print this list, so we can see that there is an error because this list has been deleted and it is saying that it is not defined. Okay. I hope it is clear. Okay. Next is that again we can loop through the list using a for loop as well as using a while loop. Okay. So let us understand how can we do it using a for loop first. Okay. Since I've deleted the list, I will have to again write everything. So let me see whether I can copy this or not. Yes, I can, I guess. So if I write this list and if I paste this, yes, it is pasted. Okay. So again, if I print this list, so here we can see that there are various elements in the this list. Okay. Now, if I use a for loop, so what I can do is I can write. So I can define a for loop using two ways for the list. So the first way is, for example, I can write, so for I in this list. So I is the iterator and this is the name of the list. So what will I do? I will iterate. I is the iterator and it will iterate through all the elements that are there inside the list. Okay. So for I in I list, what I will do is I will print, for example, I. Okay. And if I press enter, you can see that all the elements are printed one by one. Okay. There's another method by which we can do this. So what is that? I can write for I in. So there are two keywords here. The first one is range, right? So what is the range? If any one of you can say what's the range?
Sir, it is a, I mean, a function that returns an array. I mean,
Okay.
if you put a number inside it, then it will return an array of integers from 0 to one less
Right.
than the number.
Not
Right.
array range.
Sorry.
It's not
Okay. Anyways, your voice is not clear. Voice is breaking. So, anyways, let us see the example. So, if I write for I in the range, suppose 10, like this, and if I print I, so you can see that it is printing from 0 till the number 10. Okay. So it will print till 9 because whenever it goes to 10, it will come out of the loop. Okay. So similar is the concept that we can use for looping through the list as well. So what we can do is we can write, so for I in range, what I can write here, tell me, anyone?
Sir, sir, what's the question?
What will I write inside the range argument?
I don't know what we have to do.
I will have to print every element of the list. So
Sir,
what will
we can write for I in the name of the list only. We don't need range.
that is one thing. That is the first method that I have shown already.
Then
We
the
have to
length of
write
the name of the list.
Length of the list.
The
Okay.
length of the
Yes, yes, yes. So I can write len of this list like this. Okay. And now if I print I, so in this case, what will I print? I will print I, or I will print something else. What will I do?
This list of I.
This list of I. Okay. So because in this case, I will act as the index and not the iterator. In the previous case, I was acting as the elements of the list, but in this case, I will only act as the index. Okay. So I will write this list of I. And if I print, so again, it will print the same thing. Okay. I hope it is clear to everyone. Okay. Again, we can use the while loop as well. So again, we can see that, for example, we have this list. So this is this list. So first I will write what I equal to 0. Okay. And then I will write while I is less than what? The len of list, obviously. I is less than, I can, just a sec. I is less than len of this list like this. And what I will do, I will print this list of, again, I will act as the index only. So I will print this list of I like this. And what I will do, I will just add. So I can write I equal to I plus 1, or else what I can write? I can write I equal to I plus 1, or else what else can I write?
I plus equals to 1.
I plus equal to 1. Okay. So again, you can see that it is printing the same thing. Okay. So this is ways by which you can loop through a list using for loop as well as using while loop. Okay. Again, there is a concept known as list comprehension. Now, what is this? Let us understand that a list comprehension offers a shorter syntax when you want to create a new list based on values of an existing list. Okay, so you can see the syntax here. So if I see the first example, it will be very clear. So suppose I have this list. So let me print this. So this is, I have this list. Let me create a new list, like new list this. So this is an empty list that I have created now. Okay. Now what I want to do is that based on a specific condition, I want to take elements from this list and I want to insert the same elements into the new list. Okay. And I will do this based on a certain criteria that will be satisfied. If not satisfied, it will not be inserted into the new list. And if satisfied, it will be inserted into the new list. Okay. So what I will do is I will write for I in fruits, or sorry, not in fruits, this list. So for I in this list, I will write if A. So you can see the example that if the character A is there in the element, so you can see that A is there in banana, A is there in blackcurrant, A is there in watermelon, A is not there in kiwi, A is there in grapes, as well as A is not there in 1, 2, and 3. So obviously, based on this condition, what should happen is that banana, blackcurrant, watermelon, as well as grapes, these elements will be taken from the old list and will be inserted into the new list. Okay. So just see the example that if A, the character A is in the element, which means if A is in I, right? So what we can do is we can write new list dot append of what? I. Okay. And after what happened? Okay, okay. I will have to another, I will give to have, I will have to give another indentation, right? So for I in this list, okay. if a in I, so since this is another condition, which means it has a colon, so I will not only have to give four spaces, I will again have to give four spaces because I will have to define the scope of this if statement. Okay, so I will have to give 1, 2, 3, 4, another four spaces. And what I will do here, that I will write new list dot append of I. Okay, I have the integers in the case of, right, because I'm just searching for a character, but there are integers. Okay, okay, let me do one thing. I will just write this list dot pop, so it will remove the last element. Again, I will write the same thing and the same thing. Now, if I print this list, it will only contain the uh, the characters or the strings. Okay. Now, if I do the same thing, so for I in this list, if a in I will write new list dot append. Okay. Now, if I print the new list like this, what happened? Okay, it was being appended. Okay, just a second, just a second. Okay, again, I will write the same thing.
Sir, but now new list is deleted completely.
Sorry.
So using
Okay,
the del
right,
command, it's
right. Very sorry. So I will have to create the list first, and then I will have to write the same thing. Oh, it's very tedious. Okay, so if a in I will have to write new list dot append of I, and now if I print new list, it will print only the elements that are having the character a in the previous list. Okay. Now you can see that in this case we are writing what? We are writing 4 lines of code, 5 lines of code, and so on, right? So using list comprehension, what we can do is we can write the same thing in a single line of code. Okay, and how? Let us see this example. So if I just write it like this, that new list. So again, I will have to remove everything, na? So I will have to again suppose let us delete this first, and then let us create new list equal to. So whenever we want to use the list comprehension, the first and foremost thing is that we have to give the square brackets. Okay. Now what I will do is I will write. So let us see it like this. So first I will write the for loop. Okay. So first I will write the for loop like this, that for I in this list. Okay. Then we will add the condition by giving a space, that if A in I, right? And if this is satisfied, what we will do? We will just take the iterator I, and we will insert it in the new list. So is it clear? Is the thing clear to everyone? So first I will do the I will add the for loop, yes, and then I will add the condition. And if it satisfies, what I will do is I will just take the iterator and I will insert it in the new list. So if I press enter on this, and now if I print new list, so you can see the same thing. Okay, so this is the thing that is known as list comprehension, and using this we can very easily just write certain conditions or certain lines of code using a single line. Okay. Again, if I don't give the condition, what will happen? It will still work, but the working will be something different. So if I again suppose delete the new list like this, and if I write this thing, and if I just delete the condition, what will happen? Tell me. What will happen?
All the elements of the this list will be assigned to this list.
Exactly. Right?
I mean,
So
new list.
Yes, exactly. So if I just press this, and if I write new list again, so you can see that all the elements, irrespective of the condition, because we did not give a condition here, will be copied to the new list. Okay. So this is another way by which we can use list comprehension. Okay. Okay. There are very good use cases for this. Since it is not a class of NLP, I cannot show you. If it would have been a class of NLP, I could have shown you various good use cases for of list comprehension. So again, we can discuss it later if we have time. Okay. Anyways, okay. List again will have a sort method. Okay. Now, okay, it's already 5:55. Okay, I will just continue till 6 and then I will give you the. Acha, do you have any questions till now, whatever we have studied?
No, sir.
Okay, okay. So I will continue till 6 and you will have time. Do you have another class today of placement?
Yes, sir.
Of Anupam, sir?
Yes.
Okay, okay. And that starts from 6:30, right? So
Yes.
after 6, what I will do is I will just paste the Google Form link in the chat box and then you can give the exam. And that after 6, okay? So let us, we have only 5 minutes and let us complete this slide first. Okay, so list object have us, there's another object called as sort method, right? That will sort the list alphanumerically. Okay, so suppose let us take this example. So we have this list. So suppose we have the new list like this. Okay, and I want to sort this list. Okay, so you can see that it is not sorted. So obviously by default, it will sort in ascending order, right? So if I write just new list dot sort, right? And again, if I print the new list, so you can see that it has sorted in the ascending order. Okay. Also, we can do the same thing for numerical lists as well. So suppose we have another list one, for example, and we have suppose 3, 1, 7, 4, and 8 like this. So again, if I just write list one dot sort, and again if I print list one, sorry, list one, so I can see that it has already been sorted. Okay. Now to sort in the descending order, we will obviously have to use a keyword called as reverse. Okay. Now what is this reverse? Let us see that. Let us go to the new list. So let me copy this first. Let me define a new list like this. Okay. And if I want to sort in the descending order, so what I will do is I will write new list dot sort, right? And in the argument, I will write reverse is equal to true like this. Okay. And if I, okay, sorry, reverse is equal to true like this. Okay. And now if I print the new list, you can see that it will be sorted in the reverse order like this. Okay. Okay.
Sir,
Tell me.
you have shown a list of only strings and a list of only integers. If a list has both strings and integers, and we try to sort that, then what will happen?
Let us check. Let us check what happens. Okay. So there is a new list like this. Just a second. So I will suppose I will have a new list and I will do it like this, write it like this. Okay. And we have a list of integers like list one. So what I will do is I will just write new list dot extend of list one. And now the new list will become this. Okay. And now if I write new list dot sort, okay. Got it? What happens?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so it's already 5:58. I think there is no point in going to the next slide because again the next slide will, there are something else. So we can again, Acha, one more thing that we will quickly see is that suppose we have capital letters as well. Okay, so what generally happens is suppose we have a new list very quickly. Let us say that we have capital B banana and we have apple. Okay, so if I just write sort in this case, what will happen? Tell me.
It will sort on basis of ASCII values. Like banana will be coming before apple.
Achha, let us check. Let us check what happens. Let's new list dot sort, and if I write new list like this, wow, new list like this, So again, it will not sort because the capital characters are considered as greater than the small letters, right? So if I want to correct this, so again we will have to use a key keyword. Okay. Now what is this key keyword? Let us understand first. So first and foremost, what I will need to do is I will need to convert this banana into lowercase. Okay. And how we can convert this into lowercase? As in string, we have missed out this thing. So suppose we have a string called as banana like this, and we want to convert this into a lowercase. So what I can write is I can write s dot lower. So it will be converted into banana. So the same logic we can use whenever we want to solve our previous difficulty. So what we can write is we can write this list. Okay, it was new list. So new list dot sort, and we will use a keyword called as value, key. And what I will do is I will write just, so whatever will be the element, so that will be a string. So I will just write that I will have to first convert it into lowercase like this. What? Okay, sorry. Okay, just a second. Yes, like
The
this.
key and argument should be passed.
Sorry.
So key and argument also no. So key x equal to x dot row or something like that.
Yes, that is another thing, but that is not the same thing that we are studying here. So what is that thing? We will go to that in the next class. So there is a concept called key and argument. So what is key and argument? We will study that in the next class. Okay. There are this was the thing that was mentioned in the next slides, but again we do not have time. So okay, so let us stick to this thing first, and then we will study this thing in the next class. Okay. So if I write new list dot sort key is equal to str dot lower, and now if I print new list, you can see that first it was converted into a lowercase, and then it was sorted, and then it was again printed. Okay. So this is the thing that we can do whenever we are sorting the list. Okay. And whatever you said regarding key and everything, that will be there in the next slides. Okay. I will definitely touch upon that in the next classes. Okay. So it's already 6:02. Let me do one thing. Let me just stop this share first. And just a second. I have given the link in the chat box. So just click on the link, and if any one of you can confirm if the link is opening or not, and if it is accepting responses or not,
Yes, sir, it's opening.
and accepting response, just quickly fill up someone.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Then I will end the session here. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.